Hi everyone, and welcome to my next video tutorial, which is going to be focused on introducing ourselves to the CloudFormation Designer mode. So let's go on ahead and get started. So first of all, I'd recommend that you go on ahead and in your search bar, you type in CloudFormation. So we can put in CloudFormation. We don't need to type in the full word, and that you pin this to your navigation bar. And that you also go on ahead and type in S3 and you pin that to your navigation bar as well, because we are going to be utilizing both of these services together to understand the concept of designer mode that is situated in CloudFormation. So let's go on ahead and open up CloudFormation. So we can go ahead and right click and open that link in a new tab. And we have CloudFormation here up and running. Right, now, if you see this page here on Stacks, what you can do is you can just click on the info panel here. If this is closed, you can just open it up here on the left-hand side and click on CloudFormation. Okay. And then also, I'd recommend that you open up S3, so you can right-click on that service and open that link in a new tab as well. So we have both of them open. Okay, so let's open that up. All right, here we are. Right, so we just want to make sure that we have that organized before we get started. Right, so let's navigate back to CloudFormation, and what we're going to do, as before, is we're going to create a stack. Now, I've already covered in this channel how we can go on ahead and create a stack by using our template which we created offline, and then going ahead, uploading it, and utilizing it. Now what I'm going to show you is how you can design it in CloudFormation itself by using, how can I say, a blueprint of sorts manually. So to do so, you would need to select Build from Application Composer. After which you want to go on ahead and say Create in Application Composer. So this is where we want to create our stack essentially. So we can just give that a moment to load the dashboard. And then we can start to create our template. Right, so as you can see here, this is focused in the Application Composer mode. And this is essentially an improvement to CloudFormation in terms of their designer mode. So as you can see here on the left-hand side, we have all of the components and resources set up and into place here. But what I want us to actually go on ahead and focus on is the designer mode. So what you can do is you can go on ahead and say go to designer. Okay, so let's give it a moment to load up. And here on the left hand side, you will see this section heading that says resource types. So what I would suggest you do is just familiarize yourself with CloudFormation Designer first, and then later on you can go on ahead and experiment with the more improved version, which is Application Composer. So do keep that in mind for future learning. So we can close this right here. And what we want to do is we want to scroll down here under resource types, and we want to look for S3. So essentially with CloudFormation Designer, you can go on ahead and design your own stack just by dragging and dropping the relevant resources. So for example, you could in theory go on ahead and drag in your EC2 instances, create your security groups, link that with, of course, the relevant IP addresses, and integrate that all into place here by just clicking on the relevant service and just dragging and dropping in this space here your template that you want to utilize. Now we're going to keep it quite straightforward, so we're just going to look for S3, so we can create an S3 bucket here just by going ahead and dragging it in our template. So let's just look for S3, there we are. So here's the S3 service. And you want to look for a bucket. So what we can do is we can go on ahead and click on bucket. Let's do that. And then what you can do is you can drag it. So make sure you click on it and then drag your bucket here to this template here. So of course, go ahead and click and drag. Okay. So of course, the more you drag, the more buckets you're going to create. So click and drag. So if you want to delete, for example, a resource here that you've added into your template, you can go on ahead and just select it and then hit delete. Okay, then you're going to get a prompt here from Amazon to say, are you sure you want to delete this resource? Just say okay. And there we go. So here we can see we have our bucket, which is going to be situated in our template. And you can go ahead and add in all the resources that you desire to this space from the resource type list here on the left-hand side. So we just want to create a simple S3 bucket. And if we navigate to the S3 service and we go to our info panel and we go to buckets, you're going to see here, in my case, I have no buckets here. I haven't created any. So let's head on back to the designer, and to go on ahead and upload your template now that you've created in the designer mode, you can go on ahead and click here on this cloud icon that says create stack. So it's going to launch our stack in the wizard. And now if you scroll down, you're going to see here that an Amazon S3 URL will be provided. So by default, whenever you create a template in CloudFormation, it's going to by default always create a designated Amazon S3 bucket that's going to house all of your templates. So no matter what your template is based of, if it's based of a set of EC2 instances and associated load balancers and autoscaling group, or if it's an RDS database with a Postgres engine, no matter what you create, it's going to create an S3 bucket to house that template design. And in our case, we're going to have two buckets, one for the base template design and another bucket, which is going to be focused on our actual design and what resource we want to generate. So we're going to have our S3 bucket as well. So what you want to do is you want to go on ahead now and say next. You want to give your stack a name. So this name here is going to be attached to the S3 bucket that you create. So here I'm just going to say my stack S3 bucket. That's going to be my stack name. Then I can click on next. Okay, we can leave everything as is. You don't need to set any specialized setting. You can say next. Review everything, and if there's something you want to change, you can just say edit and then go on back to that designated step where you want to reconfigure or modify a setting. Once you're happy with everything, you can say submit. All right, so here we can see our event taking place here. So a bucket is currently being created, and of course it takes the name of the logical ID as my stack S3 bucket. Now we can navigate to the Amazon S3 bucket service, and let's refresh buckets. And here we can see that our templates bucket, which is by default always going to be created when you create a template in CloudFormation, that's always going to be created. But now we can also see our S3 bucket was created as well, known as my stack S3 bucket. And if we head on over to the events here, we can see, of course, it's still showing create in progress. So we may just need to be a little bit patient. So let's just refresh to see. And there we go. Create complete. So our bucket was created. So you can see a list of events here and the progress that was occurring and the status as well based on the fundamental reasoning. So we can close this and you can head on back to stacks. And here we have our stack here, and we can see it was created, the time, and we can see here, if we refresh on our buckets here in the S3 service, we have our bucket that we created called my stack S3 bucket. And of course it does have a ID that's associated with that bucket from CloudFormation, but we can see here, this part here we controlled. When we went ahead and named our stack name, that takes a section of the actual bucket name that we created. Right guys, so that's how you can go ahead and utilize the CloudFormation Designer mode to generate resources using infrastructure as code. All right, so that's it for this video tutorial. I will show you how you can clean everything up. So what you can do is here by your stack here, just make sure your stack has been selected by the radio button. You can say delete and say delete here. So you want to delete that stack. So the deletion has been initiated. So what you can do is just refresh, navigate to your buckets list, refresh on your table, and you can see our bucket was deleted. However, that template bucket needs to be deleted manually by us. So to do so, you can click on the radio button next to it, say empty. So you want to empty all the objects within it. And you can just say permanently delete those objects. Exit and select that bucket again, then say delete. Go on ahead and enter in the name of the bucket and then delete the bucket. Right, there we go. So make sure you've gone ahead and cleared your resources, and that is how you can go on ahead and utilize the designer mode to ensure that you can create templates from scratch within a blueprint of sorts. Right guys, so that's it for this video tutorial, and as always, thank you for support, and I'll see you next time. Goodbye.